What's up, everybody? This is Alex from Fireside Giants, an Empire Sports Media production. You're listening to the Fireside Giants podcast. If you are a diehard Giants fan, you've come to the right place. Daily episodes, interviews, draft content, and so much more. Make sure to drop a like and subscription below on YouTube, and don't forget to leave a comment. We love to engage with everybody. Now, today's episode, my friends, talking about the Giants' new offensive coordinator, Mike Kafka, and what his former player, Travis Kelce, had to say about him, and what Saquon Barkley's opinion of Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen is already up to this point. Of course, we've seen them make a ton of different moves regarding new coaches, a couple of new players, Davis Webb, there's some guys that are coming over from the Bills to help smooth over the transition. And I think that that's a really beneficial thing for the Giants, especially, since they're kind of low money, veteran minimum guys to begin with. Davis Webb actually, interestingly, was being groomed to become the assistant quarterbacks coach in the Buffalo Bills organization. So maybe he ends up doing that same role with the Giants in the future. So interesting little thing there and a little tidbit. But Travis Kelce, right? One of the best tight ends, if not the best tight end in football. And then, alternatively, Mark Andrews is right there with him, 1 and 2. And the Giants now have the tight end coach who actually developed Mark Andrews, Andy Bischoff, which is a really good thing. And I spoke about a tight end that I believe could be a really great option for the Giants in the 2022 NFL draft. Guys, here's some big news just in time for the Super Bowl. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 56. It's officially live right here in New York, and mobile sports betting is active. Make sure to take advantage of that. With the DraftKings Sportsbook, it's an exciting time to be a sports fan, and DraftKings is making it even more exciting with this special offer. Listen to this. Not a new customer, you can experience Super Bowl 56 with same game parlays. Combine multiple bets from the same game for a bigger payout. The more legs you add, the more money you can win. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. No delays, nothing like that. And download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Sign up using Fireside, code Fireside. Bet just $5 and win $280 in free bets if your team wins. That's 56-1 odds using code Fireside. Pretty simple. Sign up. Make sure to take advantage of that promo code before the Super Bowl. Obviously, Cincinnati Bengals, if they drop down a little bit lower, I'm definitely going to be smashing the over on that because they somehow find a way to win despite Eli Apple and his mom trying to get all crazy up in here. But I'm excited, guys. Make sure to take advantage and enjoy the rest of the episode. Jeremy Ruckert. I would love to do a film breakdown of him and why I think he would be a great fit for the Giants and why his similarities with Mark Andrews as a prospect would really work well with Andy Bischoff and what he's trying to accomplish. And maybe he'd be able to develop him into another great pass catching tight end and blocker in the NFL. But I want to talk about Mike Kafka. Now, Anthony isn't here today, but he did write a phenomenal article yesterday on the changes in schematics between Daboll's offense, Kafka's offense, and of course, Jason Garrett's slant-heavy disaster offense that might as well be sitting at the bottom of a garbage bin for the eternity of time. But when we're talking about the modernizing of this offense, which is what we've been asking the Giants to do, right? We've been asking, bring in young guys, bring in fresh minds with modern approaches, and let's see what this team can do. The personnel, it's not like we have a lack of talent. Kadarius Toney's a great talent. Saquon Barkley, we know what he's capable of doing. Daniel Jones can run, he can throw. We know these guys are capable of doing some good things on the football field, but we haven't seen them at their peak potential. So hopefully Brian Daboll and Kafka are able to, extract their best self. Now, I'd love to share with you what Travis Kelce had to say about Mike Kafka, and it's really, really enticing, and it really should get us excited because at the end of the day, we needed this modernization. Mike Kafka is 34 years old, guys. He's 34 years old. He's super young. He's fresh, and he's ready to make an impact with his new team. Looking at what he said, right? He goes, the New York Giants got an absolute stud. You're going to be prepared. You're never going to feel like you don't have an upper hand against the opponent, and that's something you don't get throughout the league with every offensive coordinator. Now, Travis Kelce might as well be talking about Jason Garrett because the Giants never look prepared. Sometimes they'd have good first drives, scripted drives that looked solid right off the bat. But the rest of the game was just, the flow was off. They ran the ball a ton because the pass protection was so poor, and management and the coaching staff failed to develop these guys, aside from Andrew Thomas, of course. Now we're paying Nate Solder $4 million not to play for us. So that's what happens when you have a dysfunctional team. And Joe Schoen knows that we have to turn over the salary cap. We have to pretty much add $40 million in cap space just to get our draft picks and a couple of signings under our belts and add some talent here. Travis Kelce goes on to say, the schemes are going to be difficult for defenses to understand, and it's going to make the jobs for the guys in the field that much easier because of his hard work. Mike Kafka served as the QB coach and kind of offensive coordinator. That was Eric Bieniemy, but he was also the passing game coordinator for the Chiefs, right? So Kafka had a big say in Patrick Mahomes' development and developing game plans for the passing attack for the Chiefs, who played a dynamic West Coast style offense. They love to use Travis Kelce on the field at all times, so they do like to have a good tight end. I think that having a rookie tight end will give them a little bit of time to mold and develop a guy into what they're looking for. I think Jeremy Ruckert would be a phenomenal player for them to really grow around. And Daboll has a very interesting offensive scheme as well, right? His offensive scheme relies on heavily on wide receivers rather than tight ends and running backs. So it's going to be interesting to see how Daboll and Kafka blend, right? Because Kafka's offense, what he worked with, focused a lot on having a great tight end in Travis Kelce and fast, athletic wide receivers like Tyreek Hill and Mecole Hardman. We saw Sammy Watkins there in the past. And, those fast, dynamic wide receivers allow you to do a lot of unique things. And having guys like Kadarius Toney, fast, dynamic, agility, those guys can stop on a dime. They can do a lot of interesting things with those guys. So I think that what we're going to see is a really interesting blend between Daboll and Kafka's offense that focuses on very athletic, speedy wide receivers and good route runners too. You look at the Bills offense, Stephon Diggs, Isaiah McKenzie, Gabriel Davis, who's a 4th-round pick. He had 4 touchdowns in the playoffs in one of those games right there. So, you're looking at a team that it's really good game speed, a lot of great route runners, really good hands. When you're looking at the Bills in 2020, they ran 11 personnel on 71% of their offensive snaps, which is the 5th most in the NFL. The Giants only spent 61% of their snaps in 11 personnel under Garrett and Kitchens. 61% was actually the league average. So, looking at the Bills, they actually used it 71% more. And then the Bills also used frequently 10 personnel, right? They used 4 wide receivers, 1 running back, and 0 tight ends. Now, at their 3rd highest rate in the NFL last season, so they didn't even have Dawson Knox on the field. The Bills used 4 receivers on 7% of their snaps. For comparison, the Giants ran 10 personnel on 5 total snaps. That's less than 1%. So, really interesting to see how different these schemes are and the personnel that kind of plays a part. The Giants really tried to force feed guys like Kyle Rudolph, Evan Ingram, but the injuries and inconsistencies, they tried to just run the football basically and keep the defense off the field and give them some rest. But, it's tough to do that. I think that, when you look at the Kansas City Chiefs, who ran 11 personnel 67% of the time, all right, higher than the league average, the Giants will probably be running a lot of 11 personnel. So having that one good tight end who you can rely on is essential. Evan Ingram is going to be a free agent this offseason, so I wouldn't expect him to be back. It's going to be a very pass-heavy offense. Kafka is coming from this dynamic West Coast style. Daboll, uses the spread offense. He loves to go downfield and take shots as well with that big arm from Josh Allen. So when I'm looking at the offense and the scheme that's going to develop here, it's going to be different. And then Saquon Barkley, how does Saquon Barkley play a part here? Because the consensus is that he's going to stay with the team, right? So if Saquon Barkley remains with the Giants, they don't trade him and get rid of his $7.2 million cap hit. You have a guy that you kind of have to give targets to. You have to give him the rock, whether it's in the receiving game or it's in the passing game. That's kind of how you maximize a player of his magnitude. But Saquon Barkley has been really ecstatic about what the Giants have been doing the last couple of weeks as well. He said basically at the Radio Row at Super Bowl 56, he says, "I love the energy. I love the conversation I had with him regarding Brian Daboll. I think he and the GM, Joe Schoen, they're doing an amazing job right now. I can't wait to get back in April." He goes on to say, "I think, one, the energy that he's bringing and the conversations about the way he's going to relate the offense to the players to make the system work for the players. Obviously, I think with Joe Schoen, what he's going to do in free agency and the draft to build the team. I think we have the talent on the team. I truly don't think we're that far. We just have to keep working." So Saquon Barkley, clearly an optimist. He always has been. He really likes the way and the energy that Brian Daboll's bringing to the Giants, which I think, we've been hitting on recently. He has great relationships with all of his players. Josh Allen loves him. Isaiah McKenzie loves him over in Buffalo. And Stephon Diggs literally was like, he's a secret weapon. I try not to hype him up in the media because I don't want guys stealing him. I don't want teams stealing him. The Giants ended up stealing him, of course. Daboll has great relationships with all of his players, and I think that's going to benefit the Giants tremendously, especially guys like Kadarius Toney, who might need a little bit of guidance and discipline, and just like kind of that respect between him and the coach. So, the way I look at this team moving forward, very dynamic, modernized offensive scheme. Really excited to see what the Giants can accomplish with some of these new players and these new coaches specifically. I think Andy Bischoff, like I mentioned, tight ends coach, formerly with the Ravens, phenomenal coach. Daboll, we know what he's accomplished. The Bills had the 3rd-ranked offense in football last season. Mike Kafka helped develop Patrick Mahomes. when you have two coaches that are in predominant roles that help develop Josh Allen and Mahomes, Daniel Jones got to be salivating at the prospect of really taking his game to the next level. Now, of course, I want to see it on the field as much as you guys do. Talk is talk. It's cheap. We know this at this point. We want to see the Giants come out and actually do it on the field and not just talk about it. So that's a big part in this. And it absolutely should be. But ultimately, it comes down to the offensive line as well. If they can't fix that offensive line, it doesn't matter what Daniel Jones can do. It doesn't matter if they develop him. If that offensive line is not better than it was last year, we're going to be looking at the same situation again, because when the offensive line is bad, the running game suffers, the passing game struggles, everything really goes down the shitter. So we got to get better in that category as well. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Fireside Giants, a short little video today giving you some insight on what Travis Kelce had to say about Mike Kafka and Saquon Barkley, about Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen. Make sure to like and subscribe as always below, and enjoy the Super Bowl. Maybe we'll catch you guys tomorrow. If not, we'll talk about it on Monday. Enjoy it. Have some fun, maybe make some bets on DraftKings, our sponsor. Hit up the promo code in the description. It's also on the video screen on YouTube. Fireside, bet $5 and win $280 in free bets, and go ham on the Super Bowl. It's going to be fun. I'm excited about it. We'll catch you guys in the next episode, and have a great weekend.